Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys, it's free agency period time. We got a little bit of news to cover since we last spoke. Jordan Jenkins was signed. Brian Poole was signed. We got some new offensive linemen, a new corner. I like it. What's up, everyone? RJ MacPot, Justin Levine, Joe S, Joseph Purdy, JETS, Shaq, Ward. What's up, boys? Love to have you guys in here. We're going to do this the same way we do every week. We're going to do me kind of talking to the comments for a little bit until 8:30. And then we're going to open up the phone lines so I can hear your guys' takes on everything New York Jets. Ooh, turn off the music for a little bit. All right, boys. So did you see today Jordan Jenkins signed a $5 million one-year contract with our New York Jets? I wasn't overly high on Jenkins. I wanted him back on a reasonable deal. There was rumors he wanted $13 million a year. Obviously, that was not going to happen. There's a lot kind of shooting for the stars. I heard he had contract offers from the Ravens and the Patriots as well. I'm assuming he probably did not get the offers he was looking for. Wound up taking a $5 million prove-it deal to play in a defense he knows. Apparently, he likes Greg Williams. So very good. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Jordan Jenkins is gonna what? It's gonna what? Dark, hello, we need to collab with Jet Central. Y'all both know so much about football and the Jets. I agree. I would love to do a collaboration with Jet Central. If you guys want to see that, make sure you comment on his stuff and let him know you want to see it. I have talked to him a little bit, so hopefully we can get this all ironed out and he can join me one of these days. Guys, I put a poll question down in the comment section down below. Head over to the Jets Discord. Poll question of the night. If you get it right, I'm going to raffle off a shirt, hat, or a mug or something like that towards the end of the show. The Monday Night Miracle occurred against the Miami Dolphins in Week 8 of the 2000 NFL season. How many points were the Dolphins winning by prior to the start of the fourth quarter? Head over to the Jets Discord, down to the poll section, and answer that question. And get yourself entered to win something from the Jets Talk store. Yeah! Can someone win the raffle twice? They can. I'm trying not to. I accidentally picked CeeDee Lamb something or other twice, so I passed on him, gave it to someone else last time. So if I notice that it's twice, I'll try to pass it off to the next person. But you can definitely win twice. I'm not too upset with you guys. Just join in the chat. I just want to see you guys, answer these questions, have fun in the Discord. Meta presentations. Glad you're here. With all the linemen already acquired, we should pick Lamb with that 11th overall pick, says Mike Burnett. I really like CeeDee Lamb, and I really want an excuse to go out and get him. I really do. Although offensive line is still going to be priority for me until we solve that left tackle position. I don't think George Fant was brought in to be the guy at left tackle. I think he was brought in to compete with the rookie and to help push Edoga. I don't see us passing on a good offensive lineman if he's there. Now, that being said, it's certainly possible that Joe Douglas does not like all four of these offensive tackles. Maybe he likes two. Maybe he likes three. And maybe those two or three are gone. That's where you could see him try to either trade down or he goes and tries to take one of the top wide receivers on the board. That could be Jerry Jeudy, could be CeeDee Lamb, could be Henry Ruggs. We have seen all these names pop up. Justin Levine, what do you think about the Pierre Desir signing? Well, if you did not watch my video, I made a video about it. I do like it. Turns out he was injured last year, played in 12 games. I want to say it's shoulder and groin injuries is what has kind of hurt him over the course of his career. None of them were anything serious. They were just kind of soft. I don't want to say soft tissue because soft tissue sounds worse, but they were just they were not bad injuries. They weren't like torn ACL or anything like that. What's the difference between Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb? Says Dark. I think that Jerry Jeudy, to me, stands out more as a route runner, kind of like an Antonio Brown style, like really fast, good route runner. Lamb seems like more of a freak, I don't want to say circus catch kind of guy, but he seems more like a DeAndre Hopkins. And I don't pass on DeAndre Hopkins. That's kind of my my thinking on the whole situation. I would prefer Lamb over Jeudy, but you're kind of splitting hairs. Why the hell did we not get somebody like Darius Slay or Desmond Trufant, says Joseph Purdy? Because Darius Slay just got a huge contract. And I would not sign off on the Jets doing that, especially because he's like 29 years old, I think. I'm not particularly fond. I like Slay, not for that kind of deal, though. That's just a lot. Please open the lines early. I'm trying to talk, bruh, says Nick Ward. I will open the lines at 8:30. We're going to do this till 10 o'clock, so don't you worry. You got plenty of time. And this is where we can kind of talk a little bit more. I don't have anyone joining me tonight, so it's a little bit easier to kind of have a little bit longer of a conversation. Now, you guys should tune in to tomorrow's panel. I may or may not have a special guest joining me on that panel. And I don't want to say yet because I'm not sure if it's ironclad yet, but it's something that might wind up happening. What do we got? Where can I vote that question? Shaq, down in the description down below, there is a link to the Jets Discord. Head down there. Head to the Jets poll section. There is the question down there. So definitely take a look. See what you guys like. See if that's everything you've ever dreamed of. And the question. Answer the question. Joseph Purdy says, wait, what about Josh Doctson? What we got from Washington? We didn't get him from Washington. He was from Washington, went to the Vikings, and then all of a sudden we got him after that because they cut him. Now, cut him or he was a free agent. I think he was cut partway through last season. But I'm not super high on him. He's not someone that I think is going to overly excel on this team. I think he's probably a camp body. He's a little bit of depth in case something goes sideways. I'm not against it. Like, he could offer you maybe 500 yards, possibly. That's nothing to, be upset about by any stretch of the imagination. But I would like to see a little bit more out of the wide receiver position. Aha! See, if you guys look in the chat, we now have Nightbot. Nightbot has joined us. He's going to be posting some of the questions. So if you're looking for the question of the day, weekly poll question, you can click on that little link right there. That'll send you directly to the Jets Discord, and you can answer the question. Who remembers Chris Ivory? I miss that guy. Of course, I miss that guy too. Should we sign Clowney? No. I do not want Jadeveon Clowney. He's going to cost a lot of money. Apparently, there was an offer. Who offered it? I think it was the Titans. Maybe like a $17 million deal, I think is what I saw. He wants $20 million. And to that, I say no. Sorry, too many penalties, too many injuries. He's a freak of nature, but he's not someone I would like the Jets to overly invest in. Peter says, would you try to bring in Yannick Ngakoue? I would. I really like Ngakoue. The issue is, I think they're going to want a first-round pick for him. I'm not giving up number 11 for him. That's kind of what it is. If we could trade back, pick up some more stuff, and then give up a first, like say it was a mid, like let's call it like a 20 through 30 kind of first-round pick, I would consider giving that up for Ngakoue. I don't think it's a good move to give up a first-round pick if you're the Jets right now. I think we have too many holes. Everson Griffin, I started doing a little more research into him. I regret not having him on my edge rusher F. Mary Kill series because he is a freak. I still think Vinny Curry is probably the way we should go, but I think Everson Griffin is definitely the better of the two pass rushers. Oh, he denied the Dolphins. That's what it was. Shaq. That's correct. Clowney denied the Dolphins. That's what I saw. What's up, Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, and Sixers fan in the house? Kevin, glad to have you on. I do not discriminate against any of you guys as far as what type of fans you are. And I'll answer anything. Rams' new logo is terrible. What do I think of it? Absolutely terrible. I think it is an ugly, ugly logo. It is one of the It doesn't make sense. For you guys that haven't looked at the new Rams logo, take a look at it. You can Google it. You'll find it real quick. It's an LA with part of the A looping around like a ram horn. And first initial thought, I'm like, oh, that's sort of okay. But then you look into it and you realize that the top of the A is taller than the L. The angle of the L does not match the angle of like the A. They're all like kind of, if you're any sort of graphic designer and you look at that logo, you hate yourself. It hurts to look at. It's not a good logo. I don't like it. I apologize, Rams fans, if I got any Rams fans in here, but I think your old logo was better. I'm not a fan. Now maybe they adjust it. They definitely have adjusted logos in the past, so it's not the worst thing. Tap says, Ryan, why didn't we even make a call to the Redskins about Quinton Dunbar when the best offer was a fifth? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think the Redskins are kind of unhinged. I don't particularly want to deal with anyone with that franchise. I think Trent Williams is. I think we're probably still on the in talks with Trent Williams. I know his demands are pretty high. I think he was looking for like $20 million a year. I'm not paying him that. Sorry, he's 31 years old or whatever it is, 32 years old. Hasn't played in it'll be 2 years at this point. And then not that he's declining because he made the Pro Bowl the last 3 years, however many years, but the last 3 years that he played, he went from like a 93, 83 to like a 73. So you're kind of like dropping down a little bit in terms of the skill level, potentially. I don't want him. I don't want to give up a draft pick for him. Now, if you gave up a third and you got a starting left tackle and he's good for the next 4 or 5 years, okay. If they think that's what it is, I would be all about it. Slinger, what do you think about the 11 pick in the draft? Would you draft Ruggs? Lamb is my number one choice if I'm going wide receiver. I don't have anything against Ruggs. He's got huge hands, real fast. I would probably take Ruggs before Jeudy. I'm not upset. Not that I don't like Jeudy. I like all three of those guys. Any one of those three would be a great addition to the Jets. They'd instantly be the best wide receiver on our team. I still want Robbie Anderson back. I think we're going to get him back. I think we'll find out in the next week or so that Robbie Anderson's going to sign a 1-year prove-it deal for like $8 or $9 million. Or maybe it goes up as high as $11 million. Maybe they can get him for $11 million on a 1-year contract and sort of see what happens. Should we sign Brashad Perriman or Suh? Suh, Ndamukong Suh. I probably would not sign Suh. I don't think I want to invest too many resources into this defense. I think we're a top 10 defense anyway. I'd prefer us to invest the resources into the offense. So Brashad Perriman is someone I'm very high on. I would definitely take him. I think the issue is going to be him or Robbie Anderson. If we can't get Robbie, or Robbie doesn't want to agree to a short-term deal, or Robbie doesn't want to, settle for whatever, I think we go and we look at Perriman. I would really like to bring him in. I think he's faster than Robbie. I think he's stronger than Robbie. He's 25 pounds heavier than Robbie. I would bring him in. He's not as productive as Robbie. Robbie's been the more productive of the two wide receivers. But I think if you bring in either one of them, it would be very similar to what we're kind of seeing out of Joe Douglas right now. You're seeing a lot of the bargain bin. I don't want to say bargain bin because that has a negative connotation, and I don't want that to come off that way. I would say we are being smart. We're not overpaying. We're letting guys test the market. We let Brian Poole test the market. We let Jordan Jenkins test the market. We let Alex Lewis test the market. You kind of see that these guys, they wanted these high demands, and in the past, we've caved to those demands. Now, this current offseason, Joe Douglas allowing them to go out and try and see what they're worth. People aren't offering the kind of money they want, so we're able to get them back on a cheaper deal. I'm all about it. O'Leary in the chat. Think the Jets get Robbie back for cheaper than originally thought, closer to $10 million. I agree, Matt. I should have called you to come on here just to screw around. But I think we're gonna get Robbie back. I think around $10 million is probably about right. A 1-year contract. I think it's gonna be a prove-it deal. And then he's gonna try and attack free agency next year when there's maybe not as strong of a wide receiver presence in the draft. Right now, there's I think they were saying 30 wide receivers with a top 4 round grade. That's bananas. That is absolutely insane. And hey, look, I think we should take receiver in the second round, regardless of if we sign Robbie or not. But I would be very I would be upset if we paid Robbie a ton of money. I don't want to pay him a ton of money. Adler Jack says he likes Robbie and Ruggs as a duo. That is a fast duo. Real fast. Guys, if you didn't hear, down in the description below or in the chat box, you'll see Nightbot posting a little bit. But there is a question of the day. Question of the day. The Monday Night Miracle occurred against the Miami Dolphins in Week 8 of the 2000 NFL season. How many points were the Dolphins winning by prior to the start of the fourth quarter? Head over to the Jets Discord, answer that question, get yourself a chance to win a shirt, a hat, or a mug, or something like that from the Jets Talk store. I got a whole bunch of cool stuff on there. V-Man, thank you for the $2 donation. Did you have a toast to Brady leaving the AFC East? I drank a few beers about it, but I'll toast you right now, and I'll toast the whole chat. Tom Brady's gone. We love it. Brian Hoyer's probably going to be their starting quarterback. RJ McPot. What weed banned player would you take on right now? I would take any of them. I don't think that pot should be an issue with the NFL. I think it's ridiculous that you're having a ton of guys addicted to painkillers. There's absolutely no reason for guys to be hooked on stuff like that when there is a legal substance in a lot of states right now that should be able to sufficiently cover some of the aches and pains that you're going to get. Now, I don't know who you're necessarily talking about. Like Josh Gordon probably isn't going to play again, I don't think. But yeah, I would take a roll of the dice on any one of those guys. I don't consider any of those players bad people. I consider them a little bit dumb because they could make millions of dollars, and all you got to do is stay off the weed, as Stephen A. Smith would say. But I would take any one of them. Guys, we got 19 likes. 19 likes. RJ McPot, I don't know if I said thank you for the $2 donation, but thank you. We got 19 likes. Drop a few likes down in the comment section if you enjoy the channel, because people see the stream later on, and when they see a bunch of likes on it, it helps us get some more viewers and some more questions, and maybe a few people getting agitated in the chat. Did you guys like the live stream we did last week with me, Hashtag Sports, the DPN Sports, the Patriot guy, and O'Leary? If you like that sort of stuff, let me know, because there's been discussions about possibly doing an AFC East style kind of panel, sort of like how we do the Talking Jets panel, but AFC East. The other guy we were kind of looking at was possibly Dougley Do Wrong. He's a Dolphins fan, real good guy. I like him a lot. We've been talking about doing a collaboration together. I don't know if these guys would want to do anything consistently. I would be all about it if they wanted to do. I would turn my Monday show into a call-in show about the AFC East. I liked everyone except the Patriots guy, says Justin. You know what? As far as Patriot fans go, I actually enjoyed him. I thought it was not bad. Nick Ward says, I like you talking directly to us. Hey, I'm all for it. I enjoy that. FL Boomer says no Patriots guy. All right. D-Mac, thank you for tuning into the chat. Where do you think Cam winds up next season? The Patriots? Question mark. Where does Cam wind up? I was trying to think about that today. I was actually talking to a Panther fan on my comment section just to see what he sort of thought. And he loves Cam Newton. He's enjoyed the ride that they've been on. I think for me, where I would like to see him go, I don't know if I necessarily see him starting anywhere. I don't think the Patriots are a good fit. And that's just because I think Belichick wants someone that's going to be healthy for the entire season. I think Cam's health being a question mark probably lends him more to being a backup, which is hard to see Cam Newton as a backup role. But I think he's going to get cut, so you're going to be able to sign him to a new contract. So I don't think you'll have to worry necessarily about the $19 million cap hit. The two places I would like to see him go would be the Bills. Not that I want to see him go there, but I think the Bills to back up Josh Allen would be a very good spot for him. McDermott, has the Panthers connection there. I always thought Josh Allen was sort of a Cam Newton-esque. Like if Cam Newton and Eli Manning had a love child, I sort of like put that, or maybe it would be Cam Newton and like Matt Stafford with the big arm, something like that. That's sort of what I imagine Josh Allen as. I think the Steelers are an interesting option if Big Ben's not fully healthy, but I don't think they have a lot of cap space, so I don't think they could really take him on. O'Leary says to the Chargers, that's what I thought. The Chargers actually came out and said they're not going to be in the market for a veteran quarterback. They are going to roll with Tyrod Taylor for a year. So maybe that's just hearsay, and they just don't want to actually trade for Cam Newton, and they would actually, sign him if he were a free agent. But I think they're probably pretty truthful about that. Tyrod Taylor is the perfect quarterback to hold down the fort and not have to overspend on things. Andrew Puglisi, thank you very much for the $5 donation. I don't see a question in there, but I appreciate the donation anyway. So you get a shout out. 91 people in the chat, guys. 38 likes. Come on. Let's get it up there. Detonator 10, what's up, boy? Like you, dude. Isaac says, do you think the Jets should sign Xavier Rhodes? Absolutely not. He had a terrible year last year. I would not touch him. I would prefer other guys. Mike Burnett, did you watch the Combine at all? If so, did anyone under the radar catch your eye? I did not watch the Combine. I kept up on the stats and what people were kind of running. The receivers is really where I'm looking at. I'm not looking outside of receivers and offensive line right now because I'm pretty dialed in on the first and second round and the third round. I'd say those would be the rounds, but I would under the radar. Antonio Gandy-Golden is someone that I really enjoy. I like watching him. I don't think he was at the Combine though. I could be wrong. Tap. Who else do you think the Jets should target? Vinny Curry. Vinny Curry's a pass rusher. He's from the Eagles. There's the Joe Douglas connection. He's 31 years old. He's hungry. I would sign him to a 1 or 2 year deal. Absolutely. I think you can get him a lot cheaper than you would some other players. Zachary says, Jets sign Marcus Golden to a 2-year, $9 million. Yes or no? Would I do that? No, because Marcus Golden, I think he's a better version of Jordan Jenkins, but I don't think you need to add 2 guys that are comparable to each other to the roster. Joe S. says, Rosen is a bust. Eagles Nation. Hello, Eagles fan in the chat. Nice to have you. I got no ill words to say against the Eagles. Not against them, really. Do you think that the Jets should trade back, says Paul Boyle? I would say I would trade back. It depends what happens and who's there, because I would trade back if there were multiple offensive linemen there. I would trade back if there were no offensive linemen there, because you can fall back, maybe take a wide receiver or a pass rusher. I don't really want a pass rusher in the first round. I think it's got to be offense. But if the offensive linemen are gone and you think you can get a stud wide receiver in the second round, I understand going corner or corner or pass rusher in the first. It would just kind of hurt to have that happen. Mike Burnett, has Avery Williamson signed anywhere? No, because he's currently under contract with the New York Jets. He is not a free agent. I would trade Avery Williamson, but I think we're going to hold on to him until we need the money. Same thing we're doing with Winters. We're holding on to him until we need to use that money on someone else, because there's no point in limiting the competition you have or possibly opening a hole that you don't necessarily need to open up if the money is not being used. And both those guys are in the last year of their deals, so that's actually okay. Like, we're going to get that cap money back after next year regardless. I think they'll hold on to both those guys until they need the money. And I would say Winters will be the first one cut because we signed a bunch of those offensive linemen. And then I would say Avery Williamson would be the second one cut, because you don't want to hold on to him. There's not like there's any triggers in their contract over the next few months. You don't want to have C.J. Mosley go down with an ACL injury or something like that, or one of these new guards come in and bring a gun into LaGuardia. Now they're suspended. You want to have those guys available for preseason and available in case there's any sort of injury. Now, I don't necessarily think we're going to carry him that long, but I think you could, and I wouldn't be as upset with that. FL Boomer says Winters may stay for a pay cut. If he takes a pay cut, I would be okay with it, but honestly, I don't want him starting anyway, and I would rather cut him and possibly sign someone else. Do you think we should draft Rodrigo Blankenship? Rodrigo Hot Rod Blankenship. I would definitely draft him, but I like, if you guys were kind of paying attention today, Steven Gostowski from the Patriots is now a free agent. He had hip surgery. So I don't know if that's a telltale sign that the Patriots believe he's not going to be healthy and not going to be kicking well. But I definitely think that I would bring him in. I wanted him last year. That was the guy I wanted for the Jets prior to him re-signing with the Patriots. Paul Boyle, I saw you at the 2019 draft party. You were wearing a Jets hat, a Jet hat, and a Jets 24/7 shirt. Partially right. I was wearing a Jets 24/7 shirt and the cockpit hat. So yeah, I was there. If you guys ever see me at any of these sort of events, definitely say hi to me. I'm not a very threatening person, and I'm more than happy to talk to anyone about Jet stuff whenever I see you guys. And it gets me, kind of works the ego up a little bit. It's fun when someone's like, "Oh, hey, I watch your stuff on TV or on the YouTube." What else we got going on? We got 2 minutes before I open up the phone lines, and then we can start getting to your questions. What's the holdup with Robbie Anderson? Seriously, I think the holdup is they just want to, he wants more money. Jets don't want to give it to him. I think he's hoping that someone else offers more money, but I don't think it's going to happen. Cole McKenna, how much cap space do we have left? I was looking at it the other day. I think we're somewhere around $20 million prior to cutting Winters and Avery Williamson. So we could have as much as, I believe, $33 or so million. We have enough to get. It says 42 right now, Peter, but I don't know if all the contracts have hit that. That's kind of what I'm not too sure about. It's tough because you don't know how much each contract is going to be year one right now. You have guys that have signed an annual average of maybe $9 million a year, but they could be a $4 million cap hit year one. It could be higher year two, and then it could be really high year three, but they're never going to see that. So we could have significantly more money than the $20 million that I'm projecting. I just sort of took the annual average and just averaged it per year to kind of give us a low ball estimate of what we could have. What do you think happened with Tremaine Johnson? He was a stud with the Rams, not with us. He was trash. I don't get it. I think what happened was he got a little bit older, got a little bit slower. He was on one-year prove-it contracts, so he was playing way harder. I think he had a way better pass rush out in L.A. with Aaron Donald. And I think he came to the Jets. Jets did not have as good of a pass rush, did not give him the help he needed. And I think he cashed in. He basically set himself up for retirement. And I like the approach Joe Douglas has right now. He's not overspending on these guys where you may otherwise lose value on your return. I think the good thing about this is we're getting depth, because depth wins games. All it takes is one person to get hurt. Le'Veon Bell, we signed him for $15 million a year, $13 million a year, whatever it is. He gets hurt. Oh, well. Guess what? It would have just been as if we had signed, a depth player. It doesn't matter how good someone is. If they get injured, you're losing all that cap. So depth is always better than the high-end stuff. I think, look, I was definitely on board with the Le'Veon Bell train last year. Still think it's a good signing. We just didn't have an offensive line because Maccagnan did not do what I wanted them to do last year. Where is my... Boom. Phone number is going to be up on the screen in just a second. Just got to click on the right one. Phone number's up on the screen if you guys want to call in. Talk to you a little bit. You're awesome for doing this. Thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoy the call-in show. Call-in show is a lot of fun. It gives me an opportunity to kind of hang out with you guys and just sort of answer your questions. I like doing my editing videos, but I thoroughly enjoy these types of videos. Who we got on the line?
Call from
Peter.
Peter, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Ryan, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. I'm hanging in there. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm very impressed with what Joe Douglas is doing by bringing these guys in the building for under $10 million a year for a start.
I agree. I've really enjoyed, especially the re-signings of players. Like, I thought Lewis's contract might have been a little rich for my taste, but I think the Poole and Jenkins contracts, you get both them back for $10 million total. That's huge.
It sure is, and it's also for them to prove a point to see if they're worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Is there a player that you really like of the players that we brought in so far?
Well, I have to say Pierre Desir.
Yeah, he is a sneaky good corner. I was doing a little bit of research on him because I'll be honest, I didn't really know much about him until I Jets signed him and I started looking into him. And he looks like he's pretty good. He played well against Hopkins. He played well against Amari Cooper. And if it looks like he could play press man corner, I've heard he can play zone. He doesn't catch the ball the way I would hope he would catch the ball. I've seen a few plays where like the ball smacks him in the hands or hits him in the chest, or he goes for a deflection when he actually could have had the interception. But I'm all about it.
Yeah, but you know what? At the same time, he is a good man coverage corner, and that's exactly what we need.
Oh, absolutely. Him across from Bless Austin. I think we should still bring in a corner in like the 3rd round. Now that we have Connor McGovern under contract, I don't feel like we need to take a center, which is good because I would have spent... You could have talked me into spending our 48th pick on a center or a 3rd round pick. Now we can address maybe left tackle in the 1st, wide receiver in the 2nd. Then you go edge rusher and cornerback in the next 2 picks there.
The way how I was looking at things, man, like I have 2 suggestions. If you draft Jerry Jeudy in the 11th, you get Austin Jackson in the 2nd. But if you draft Becton or Wirfs in the 11th, then you get Jefferson or Pittman in the 2nd.
I would love that. I think both those options are really good. Like if I get Lamb or Jeudy or Ruggs in the 1st and know I'm going to get a good left tackle, then I would make that move. The issue that I have with that approach is I don't know if I'm going to get that tackle in the 2nd because the Jets are the 48th pick, and that's pretty much like the middle of the 2nd round. So I think for me, being that this is a very deep wide receiver draft, I'm taking the offensive lineman at 11, given the opportunity, and then I'm going to draft a stud wide receiver. You could even talk me into trading up into the 1st to get an even better wide receiver if you want, and if you want that 5th round, or not that 5th round, that 5th-year option on his contract. You could talk me into that. I would prefer to sit back because it's just so good of a deal. There's going to be so many guys. There's going to be a good 1st-round talent wide receiver that falls to us. You have guys like T. Higgins, Mims.
I'll be honest with you, man. Like I don't care who we get, just as long as he could do something.
Oh, yeah. I want to... So when I'm looking at the Jets wide receivers right now, Crowder's locked in. He's the slot guy. You have... I'm hoping we get Robbie Anderson back. If you get Robbie Anderson back, he's the burner. He's going deep. I'm looking for a bigger-bodied receiver. So someone like a Mims or a Pittman, someone like that seems to fit an Antonio Gandy-Golden. I don't know where he winds up going. I wanted him earlier than I think most people did. I've seen some of those mock drafts where he goes like 4th round. If that's the case, I would double dip. I would take one in the 2nd. I would take him, in the 4th round if that's an option. But I definitely, I think wide receiver. This offseason is all about the offense, and you can look at Joe Douglas and you can just see he's added like 4 or 5 offensive linemen in this free agency period.
Now that's what you call a man of his word.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The guy definitely knows what he's doing. I can't wait to watch him draft because it looks like he's making the right moves. Now I think Fant might be a little boom or bust, kind of, because I think we're paying him a little bit more than I expected to pay someone that, because I thought he was going to be more of a swing tackle. But,
yeah, I mean, I got a little scared too, but at the same time, you don't know unless you give him a chance.
Well, that's just it. And the other part of that is if Joe Douglas really thinks this guy can start and he's going to be a good left tackle, all of a sudden you have your starting left tackle for $10 million. That is stupid cheap. That is really good. So if the Jets hit on him, I'm all about it. It's only a 1-year contract, too. Or it's a 3-year contract, really a 1-year contract.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, I don't know how many seconds I got left.
You got 30 seconds.
Well, man, let me ask you this. Are you satisfied with the cornerbacks we have now, or will you still bring in one more?
If I could bring in like a Prince Amukamara or a Ronald Darby for competition, I would. I think that would be the move. I'm not going after anyone that's going to cost you a little bit more money.
I like the way you think, man.
I like the way you think. Dude, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. Boom! You have been ejected from the cockpit. Guys, if you have not answered our question of the day, head down to the description down below. Or you can click on the little Nightbot link going through the chat right now. Head down to the Discord. Click on the link. The Monday Night Miracle occurred against the Miami Dolphins in Week 8 of the 2000 NFL season. How many points were the Dolphins winning by prior to the start of the 4th quarter? Enter that down in the Discord and get your chance entered to win a shirt, hat, or a mug from the Jets Talk store. Vinny, what's good, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
What's up? How you been? How you handling isolation?
Isolation, I'll be honest, not too bad. It's kind of nice. I'm getting to make a little more videos for you guys. I have Becca in the other room. She's been working from home for the last week and a half, so she's been getting a little stir crazy. And Animal Crossing just came out, so she's like, she doesn't play many video games, but I downloaded that last night, so she's in the bedroom now playing Animal Crossing while I'm out here.
Yeah, no, I've been practicing my guitar. Try to be careful not to break the strings because all non-essential stores are closed, so I can't go buy replacement strings.
Yeah, no, you can't do anything. At once,
yeah, but as I said earlier, man, it feels good to be free.
Oh, free of Tom Brady, free at last, right?
Hey, God, man, we are free at last.
Dude, I'm very excited to see what kind of happens. Now, I'm gonna dial it a little bit back because I don't necessarily trust that the Patriots are going to just fall off a map. I think they are going to fall in some hard times, but I think...
Here's the thing. You know what I'm sick and tired of hearing right now?
What's that?
The Patriots fanboys have gone trying to go into damage control.
Oh, of course.
So they're pulling out the Matt Castle argument.
Sure, they're going to pull out the Matt Castle, the Jimmy Garoppolo, the Jacoby Brissett argument.
The Matt Castle argument is so fundamentally flawed because that team was stacked. I mean, Matt Castle was throwing to Randy Moss.
It was a stacked team
that comes within a country mile of that talent.
It was a stacked team with an easy schedule. The Jets went. Was that the year the Jets went 10-6, or the Dolphins went 10-6?
No, 9-7. That was
9-7. Okay, that was the two. They both went 10-6. That was the Favre year.
The Dolphins and the Pats went 11-5.
Oh, okay. I got you. That is the Wildcat. That was the Ronnie Brown and was it Ricky Williams? Is that what they were running with at that time?
Exactly. All I do remember is that was the year the Patriots didn't make the playoffs. So the Steelers finally were able to get to a Super Bowl when the Patriots weren't around.
Yeah, no, that's that's spot on. Who do you think starts for them? Do you think it's going to be Stidham? Do you think it's going to be Hoyer?
I really don't know. I mean, if it's Stidham, then Jamal will have a fun time.
I hope so. I want to see. I want to see the Patriots win enough games to not be able to get Trevor Lawrence or a good quarterback. I want to see them stuck in quarterback purgatory for a while.
It doesn't matter who they get because they're going to have to play. They're going to have to pay the quarterback market value.
Sure, but I don't know if market value is really going to be that high. You look at all the guys that are still available. You still have Winston, Cam Newton's available. Like there's going to get to a point where a team is just going to say like, "Hey, we got, $15 million, take it or leave it," and then all of a sudden you're getting your quarterback for half what a starting quarterback was getting.
It's true, but the Patriots roster is atrocious. I mean, that defense couldn't stop a nosebleed when it mattered.
They couldn't stop the run, but that defense is good. That secondary is filthy. Like, as long as they have Stephen Gilmore...
Come on. Whenever they needed to beat a team that was legit, they got curb stomped like it was nothing.
Well, that's fair because they had the easiest schedule.
The Ravens gifted them 2 touchdowns. Like that, take 2 touchdowns away from that Ravens-Patriots game.
Yeah.
And just look how badly they were dominated.
I don't see the Patriots being a top team. I think the Bills are going to win the division this year.
Oh yeah,
I think they're stacked. They did what we should have done last year.
Going horribly wrong, they should win the division.
Now I'm not afraid of Josh Allen. I think he's good. I think the legs are what makes him concerning. I think you're going to have to watch out for that. I think he's got a howitzer of an arm. I think Diggs is going to bomb down the field. But I think we can cover that.
Enough pieces in place to be competitive.
Yeah, I think so.
I wouldn't, and I also like what you said about bringing Gostkowski.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good move to bring in some kicking competition. Wouldn't surprise me if we wake up tomorrow and see that deal done.
I would love to see it because I just think that the Jets need a kicker. I think Gostkowski is one of the best kickers when he's healthy. I just don't know if he's healthy right now. Like if the Patriots are giving him up for nothing, he just had the hip surgery. It's concerning. But I would like to bring him in at least to compete.
Yeah, I would too.
Vinny, you got 5 seconds.
All right, go Jets and Screw you, New England.
Thank you, Vinny, for calling in. As always, you guys are awesome. Guys, if you've not, head down to the description down below. I have a link for the Jets Discord. It's also in the chat under the Nightbot guy. If you want to click on that, the Monday Night Miracle occurred against the Miami Dolphins in Week 8 of the 2000 NFL season. How many points were the Dolphins winning by prior to the start of the fourth quarter? Enter that question correctly, and you will get yourself a shot to win a hat, a shirt, a mug, something like that from the Jets Talk store.
Shane.
Shane, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hanging in there. Good old isolation Monday night. How are you handling your quarantine, if you are quarantined, depending on where you are?
Just keeping up with free agency and doing the same thing that your wife is doing, playing Animal Crossing.
She's playing Animal Crossing. I've downloaded Warzone, and I've been playing that like crazy for Call of Duty. Whew, that is a lot of fun. What do you think about this free agency period?
So, I've been liking like the whole patient approach that JD has been doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's doing this in a very smart way.
Sure.
And I think we could be pretty surprised by this O-line. I think it's very underrated, especially if the chemistry's there.
Oh yeah, I think because, if you get guys that are in the are in on the field, like I think last year we had 9 different combinations of offensive linemen, and that's one of the biggest reasons why the Jets were so. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Becca's in the chat right now. My best man for my wedding is saying, "Aw." Yeah, no, I think if you get the guys with the cohesion and they're playing together the entire year, if you get 5 starters play 12 games together or 15 games together, because you're going to have some injuries in there, but if you can have that for the most part, I think that's going to be leaps and bounds better than what we got out of the offensive line last year.
Yeah, and I don't think this line would be injury prone as much.
I think that's one of the things that Joe Douglas is focusing on. I think he's focusing on guys that are more durable, have been around for their teams, and just, in general, have a high upside.
Yeah. All right, so I'm thinking for a receiver, even if we do bring back Robbie Anderson,
yep,
I think we should still take a flyer on Brashad Perryman.
Really? Okay. So
yeah, because I feel like he's trending upwards a little bit, and I feel like if you actually gave him a chance, like on the field for I'd say say one game, he could actually pull some stuff. Because if you have 2 fast guys, it's really hard to
Oh yeah, you look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs, they have Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins. That team is just fast across the board. Speed. What is the whole thing about Joe Douglas saying? He says speed, something about pipes and bursting pipes. And it's like bursting pipes or something like that. Like speed is good. You can't teach speed. So I wouldn't be upset with that sort of approach. I just think that's a waste of resources. Like I think you should go for one or the other and then draft a receiver in the draft because it's just such a strong draft. I don't know what happens with Robbie. I think he's going to re-sign with the Jets, but it's just I don't want this to drag out so long that Perriman now signs somewhere and the Jets have to sign Robbie. Like that would sort of irk me a little bit. I would rather if Robbie's just not going to make a move and we're just like, all right, you know what, Robbie, we're going with Perriman. We're going to pay him less money. We're going to take him. A flyer on him. Sorry, our offer's off the table. Like I think the Jets are probably going to have to get to. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a team that wants to sign him to the money he wants. So I think the Jets are just kind of bidding against themselves. So if he's all right with, hey, I'm going to try and wait till after the draft and wait till someone actually wants me. I don't know if that's his approach, but that would be a very, very not good approach for him to take.
Yeah. And for the draft, I would say if all the O linemen are gone, I'd trade down, maybe get some picks, and if Ngakoue is still available, maybe try to make a deal.
Oh yeah, if I can get Ngakoue, he's the pass rusher I think I would want more than anything else. He's like 25 years old. Yeah, he played on a stacked defense with Josh Allen and Calais Campbell. He just seems to me like he's more worth the money than Clowney is. You're gonna have to pay both those guys are gonna make $20 million, or at least maybe I guess Clowney may not because he's holding out and he's not getting it. But I think Ndakwe and Clowney, they're both going to be paid around the same. Ndakwe is the one that I think is more valuable and more worth the money, in my opinion. It's just tough for the Jets to give up a pick for him. And I know he's worth a first-round pick. If the Jets traded back, maybe got a first-round pick next year, and then fell back maybe to like maybe the Eagles want to come up and draft Henry Ruggs, we take their pick plus something else next year, and then maybe we move back again. And just like depending on who's there, and we try to accumulate as many picks as we can. I would give up a mid to late 20 type pick.
Is like the most realistic one.
I think the Eagles and I think the Ravens are the two teams that I could see trading either forwards or backwards with us. So whether it's us moving up into the first round, I could see us trying to target Baltimore at I think 28, or if we're trading down, that Eagles pick at 21 could be an option. Now I don't want to fall back that far, but if that meant we get maybe a first round pick next year, I'd do it, especially if the offensive linemen weren't there. I don't know if you could take a receiver at 11 if you have a trade back opportunity where you can get a first round pick next year.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
What receivers would you draft?
Receivers would I draft? I love CeeDee Lamb. If I could find an excuse to draft a receiver in the first round and it being CeeDee Lamb, I would take CeeDee Lamb. Now, second round is where I think we're probably going to target. Justin Jefferson's probably my favorite of the receivers that might be available then, but I could see him going in the first round. Mims is another one. I don't know if the second round might be too high. I need to watch him more. I've heard people talk about him, and I have not. I'll be honest, I have not watched enough tape on him. So I need to do that. I'll start doing my wide receiver breakdown kind of videos. I'll probably do wide receiver and I'll do offensive line. I'll kind of grade these guys based on their metrics that they had, the strength of schedule they went up against. But yeah, Justin Jefferson, I'd say. Mims. Pittman, it might be a little rich in the second round. I think he's more of a third-round pick.
Yeah.
I don't know if T. Higgins is the guy I really want.
And if we don't get anybody in the early rounds, I would say take a flyer on Gandy Golden, because I really like the type of receivers that are tall.
Agreed.
You know, they have muscle. They can fight for the ball, like Julio Jones or something like that.
Antonio Gandy Golden, just from like a visual sort of perspective, when I watch him now, he's playing with Liberty, so it's a very like weak conference. But he looks to me like an AJ Green, like just a big lanky kind of guy. Yeah. I don't think he's got the speed of Green, but I like AJ Green too. Now, obviously, if he was the caliber of AJ Green, he wouldn't be going in the third or fourth round. But I would like Antonio Gandy Golden. He's someone I think I projected us middle of the season taking in like the second or third round in my mock draft. So I've definitely had him on my radar for a little while.
And we have a lot of problems in the red zone, and I've heard that's like his specialty too.
Yeah, any of those big wide receivers. You got to think this offense is going to be totally different than it was last year. You're going to have, maybe you get Robbie Anderson back. I guess you have Crowder, but you're going to add a new wide receiver in the draft. You're going to have Herndon back. You're going to have Bell behind an offensive line where Sam can actually stand up. Sam being healthy and not having mono is so huge. I can't get over that. Like, I think that shouldn't be discounted. That's my thinking on the wide receiver.
Do you think if we if we trade back and maybe possibly get another second-round pick, do you think we would take a flyer if he falls on Trayvon Diggs?
He's the corner, I think, right? Is that?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think it depends which offensive linemen are there. Like if Jones is there or Austin Jackson is there and you like either one of them, I think you should take the lineman. I'm not against corner. I think we do need a good corner. I think we should address it in the top 3 rounds. I just don't know if I want it to be that early. It would be interesting watching him go against... Now, I think they're brothers, right? I'm pretty sure Stefon Diggs and...
Yeah, Stefon Diggs and Trayvon
Diggs. Yeah, that would be cool to watch them go against each other twice a year.
But I would only take him if all the good old linemen are gone and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think I would have to... I would only take him... If we fell back to 21 and then you all of a sudden Ruggs, Lamb, Judy are all gone, and then the next batch of wide receivers are all kind of muddled at that next tier, and the offensive linemen are gone. Maybe you're not high on Jones and Austin Jackson is too high. Then I'd probably consider it. I would think him or a pass rusher. I think Christian Fulton is another cornerback I would like to look at in the first round if we were to trade back and some of our other top choices were not available.
And a lot of other Jets YouTubers were talking about Troy Pride, too.
I don't know anything about Troy Pride. I have to I have to do some of my research on him. I've been so focused on what's going to happen at 11, and I've really been dialed in with offensive line at 11, and then wide receiver in the second. It's just hard for me to look outside of those sorts of realms right now based on what I'm seeing in free agency and this Jets roster.
Like, if Mekhi Becton somehow falls to 11, I'm taking him in a heartbeat.
Dude, you can't teach size. That dude's 6'7", 300 and friggin' zillion pounds or something like that. Guy's a brick wall.
And he ran like pretty fast for his size too, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, if you're 6'7", you can run anywhere. That's impressive. He's a big mamma jamma. Dude, thank you so much. I'm gonna get to the next caller. Boom! You've been ejected from the cockpit. Where's my little thing? Boom! Chicken flying across the screen. I clicked it twice. Sorry. Guys, if you haven't tuned in, down below in the Jets Discord, in the link in my description or in the comment section, the Monday Night Miracle occurred against the Miami Dolphins Week 8 of the 2000 NFL season. How many points were the Dolphins winning by prior to the start of the fourth quarter? Answer that question correctly. Get yourself entered to win a shirt or a hat or a mug or something like that from the Jets Talk store. V-Man, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Planning a Jets man cave. How does the idea of making it look like an aircraft hangar sound with steel siding and walls painted green and white? That's interesting. I would love to build a man cave, so I'm sort of thinking that's some sort of realm. Maybe. I don't think I necessarily want it to look like hangar, but I'd like some hangar-esque things.
Press 2.
What's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
How's it going, my brother?
Hanging in there. What's on your mind tonight?
I can't believe that the Jets let go of Teddy Bridgewater for some reason.
Look, Teddy Bridgewater was signed that year because the Jets traded so many picks to get up. They knew they were going to trade up to get Sam Darnold. So they traded for Teddy Bridgewater, or not trade, they signed Teddy Bridgewater. So they knew they could potentially let him rehab and then trade him for a pick. There was never going to be a chance of him staying with the Jets. They were going to make him look as good as possible. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I want to see him do well. The Saints are my NFC team. Like, if I had to pick an NFC team, that would be the Saints. So I watched a lot of him last year, and I want to see him do well with the Panthers. I like the Panthers too. Like, I have nothing against the Panthers. And I'm not upset that the Jets have Sam Darnold over Teddy Bridgewater. I would still have taken the third-round pick for Teddy because he was a free agent. He would have walked at the end of the season anyway. The Jets had a ton of money. They weren't going to receive a compensation pick for him, so it's not like they were going to have a shot to really trade him without having him start and play. Like, his value was at an all-time high this offseason. And it's just not something that the Jets were going to be in position to do because you were going to draft Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield. You were going to get up to get up in the draft to sign these guys. And I think it's a smart move that they got the pick. Unfortunately, that turned into Chuma Edoga. We used our original third-round pick on Ja'Kai Polite, which totally flopped. But I'm not upset about Teddy Bridgewater. I'm more so excited for him. I want to see him get the starting opportunity, especially with McCaffrey. I think that's an interesting team. I would have pegged that team to be a favorite to tank for Trevor Lawrence, especially like with Cam injury history and probably not coming back there. Why are you upset that Teddy Bridgewater is no longer a Jet?
It just seems like every year we make one move, and then the next year we turn around and do the opposite. We make problems for ourselves, right? You sign Bell. You sign Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon. He was off for a year, so you know he's not going to be his top notch his first year. He did all right for his first year back with the offensive line he had in front of him. He did great, and with Adam Gase playing against him as well, because Gase didn't help the situation.
Yeah, look,
you're going to see Le'Veon Bell do pretty good this year.
I think so too. I think most of that had to do with the offensive line. I think a lot of it. The thing that scares me is that Adam Gase has had issues with star players in the past. I don't want him to call plays in spite of Le'Veon Bell because he didn't want him. That's where my concern is with that whole situation. Joe S., thank you very much for the $1.99 donation. He says, quarantine Gase for good. Ooh. A lot of people don't like Adam Gase right now. I think no matter what coach we would have brought in last year, I'm on record as saying I didn't like Adam Gase hiring. I wanted McCarthy. But I think whichever coach came in last year with the amount of injuries we had and Sam getting mono and everything that happened, I think no coach would have done better. I mean, I think you probably could have seen Le'Veon Bell maybe produce a little bit more. I think Gase running him up the middle against the Bengals was just terrible. I want to give Gase a chance, one more season before I jump on the fire Gase train. I mean, I was on the fire Gase train after the Miami game, and they turned it around to an extent after that, but I don't know. What else are you thinking? What's your favorite free agency pickup that we've...
I like Fant. Or Fant is from Seattle.
You like Fant? Fant?
Yeah, I like that. I like what Joe Douglas has done so far. I think he's done an excellent job. I think we're looking good again. We can come up looking pretty good this year. I think we need Gaston and Fecko back. That's what we need.
Look, we just need Sam to stand upright. That's the biggest issue. If he's not running around for his life, I really think he's going to be a good quarterback. And it's been frustrating for me because I thought last year we were going to see a lot of that with Quincy Enunwa coming back, with Robbie Anderson in like a contract year, Le'Veon Bell coming in. The offensive line was just so terrible. If the Jets did what the Bills did last year, which is what I wanted them to do, I talked about Paradis, I talked about Mitch Morris, I talked about the offensive line. They didn't do it. They're doing it this year. So we're 1 year behind where I wanted us to be, but I'm looking forward to this season. I think we're going to surprise people. Even if we're 8-8, I think it's going to be a much better season at 8-8 than.
I think we're more than 8-8. I think we're more than 8-8 this year.
Hey, if we're more than 8-8, we could sneak into the playoffs if there's 7 teams making it in.
As far as Adam Gase goes, we should have never picked him up in the first place. He's Miami trash, and that's my opinion on that. But we got to give him a chance now he's here because he'll be doing the same thing again, just as we're getting somewhere. We're going to start it over again. So we got to keep him for another year anyways. Thank you for letting me have my say, and I love your show, brother.
Thanks, dude. Thank you so much for calling in. Hope you call in again. Dude, I enjoy that. I'm glad you guys are... I'm glad I could entertain some of you guys during this quarantine time period when there's no sports going on. And I appreciate you guys tuning into the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. I put in a lot of man hours in the editing room and the research room, and then I just get to BS with you guys during tonight. So anytime we do these panels, it's just a lot of fun. FL Boomer says Sam was throwing dimes and seeing ghosts. Yeah, could you imagine if he could throw dimes and not see ghosts? That's what I want to see. I have no idea what your name is. It was very hard to hear, but thank you, and welcome to the cockpit. And the call ended. That's all right. He got cold feet. Guys, if you did not check out the link in the description down below to the Jets Discord, there is a question of the day posted in the poll section. Head down to that and answer the question. Monday Night Miracle occurred against the Miami Dolphins, Week 8 of the 2000 NFL season. How many points were the Dolphins winning by prior to the start of the fourth quarter? Get yourself entered to win a shirt, a hat, a mug, something like that, down in the Jets Talk store. So I'll be raffling off at the end of the show. Just Levine says, Mac prank called Ryan. That's what it was. Mac's just like, oh yeah, I'll show you. You were not real happy with the stuff I did. I'm going to call in your show. Yeah, probably him. That's what it was. New York Sports MC, what's up, dude?
Call from
Mike, NY Sports MC.
Oh, I was just saying hi to you in the chat. What's up, Mike? What's on your mind?
How's it going?
Hanging in there, hanging in there. What are you? How are you enjoying your quarantine, or whatever you're pent up doing?
Misery. I can't wait to go back to work full time.
Yeah, I'm enjoying my little hiatus. It's kind of nice. What? Well, I had my hiatus over the winter too, but whatever. What's on your mind?
No, just loving what Joe Douglas is doing so far in free agency here. I mean, the flexibility that he's keeping, whether it be by the guys he's bringing in being able to play multiple positions, and the fact that he has flexibility to get out of these deals very quickly if he needs to, or potentially keep these guys on for a few extra years. Just love how he's running this offseason.
Yeah, so do I. I think the one-year contract is huge. I think you're starting to see a lot of NFL players try to get that long-term deal, that second contract, and then sort of dial it back. Just to, I can see them do that because they want to protect their head. They don't want to injure their body long-term. So if you sign these one-year contracts where these guys are hungry, get the most out of them, and then you go and you either re-sign them maybe partway through the season if they're playing well for another one-year deal, or you try to renegotiate at the end of the season, but you try and bring bodies in. And the Jets just have not had depth over the last, I would say, 10 years probably. The Rex era was just, we were all top-heavy. We did not have many depth players, and I think this is where Joe Douglas is going to earn his money.
Right. And somebody's got to tell Robbie, do not play poker with Joe Douglas. At least not right now.
Yeah,
this guy is like, here's your value, and I'm not moving. Like, look what happened with Jenkins.
I'm shocked.
Jenkins wanted so much money.
Jenkins wanted $13 million, I think, is what it was.
Yeah, and Joe's like, go ahead, go find it.
Yeah.
He didn't find it, and now look, he's back on a 1 year, $5 million deal.
Oh, yeah. I would bet the $5 million that he got was probably offered to him by Baltimore and the Patriots. They were probably like, oh, we'll give you maybe 3 years, $15 million or something like that. And the Jets were like, look, see, you're getting the same thing we wanted to give you. Take $5 million from us. You know Greg Williams. You know the defense. Earn your next contract. And then, dude, I love what Joe Douglas is doing right now.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's got to be the thing. And that's what I was saying from the very beginning. When we missed out on, well, we never had a chance on Thuney. But when we missed out on some of these top-tier guys, I said he needs to not panic. Because that's what our GMs would always do.
Yeah.
They would panic and overspend on somebody. The thing is, you have to have those values on these players, and you have to stick true to it. And that's what he's doing. And that's going to help us in the long run. It may not translate this year. Mm-hmm. We may not compete as well as we would like us to compete. But in the future, that's going to help us to really translate into sustained success.
The other thing that shouldn't be overlooked is that we're getting 1 year contracts for these guys, and if they play well and sign elsewhere, now we're getting compensation picks. So we're getting more draft picks for the guys that we're signing on these 1 year deals. It's something that I think is I've said it before. I think good teams draft well. We have to see and wait and see what Joe Douglas does there. But good teams draft well. They sign the players they can keep. The other players that may not be quite as important, if they sign elsewhere, they get compensation picks, and all of a sudden they're getting more and more players on cheap deals, and it's just sort of a cyclical thing. So if you can do this and start that whole, I guess, ball rolling down that way, that's what you got to do, and I think Joe Douglas is trying to gear us towards that direction.
Right, and I know I commented on your video recently on Van Roten, and I told you to kind of check out my video on it.
Yep.
Wanted to see your opinion on it. So I think that everybody's assuming too much that Lewis is guaranteed this left guard position. If you look at it, Van Roten was a left guard.
Sure.
And McGovern, before becoming the center after Paradise left, was the right guard.
Yep.
So I can easily see, I think left tackle is, or tackle I should say, is number 11 pick so long as one of them is available. I think we're all kind of under the agreement of that. I still can see them drafting a interior offensive lineman in that third round. Because if you could get a center there, put him in there, put McGovern at right guard, Van Roten at left guard, I don't think Lewis should be handed anything. I think he should have to compete. And that's what I want to see. Have him compete.
So that's what I think is going to happen. I think with all the offensive linemen that we brought in, I think we're going to play the 5 best guys. Because you look at McGovern has played center guard. Van Roten, sorry, I've been pronouncing that wrong the entire time. he's played guard on both sides. Harrison has played guard on both sides. Like I think there's Josh Andrews, more of a depth guy, but I think all these sorts of players, they're going to pick the best 5 guys across the line, and that's who's going to wind up starting.
Exactly, and that's what I love is the fact that these guys are going
to Mike, I love you so much. Thank you for calling in, but you got ejected from the cockpit. I love the timer. The timer with the cockpit thing is kind of fun. I just enjoy. I love watching the chicken fly across the screen. The chicken. Oh boy, we've been trying to get this guy on the channel for a while.
Grandpa Mark.
Grandpa Mark, what's up, brother? Welcome to the cockpit. Grandpa? Mark? Dad? Dad? Hello? Oh, no. All right, Grandpa Mark, call back.
Call from
Paul.
Paul, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit. How are you handling your quarantine?
I'm doing all right, Ryan. Let me make one point. I've been missed the Jet. I'm a longtime Jet fan, 1979. I've been missed the Jet play, mind you. I'm going to tell you one thing.
Sure, shoot.
Ira from Staten Island cannot hold a candle to you. You're such a passionate young fan.
Thank you.
You're a passionate fan. I watch you all the time. Every time I'm at dinner, I pop YouTube. I watch your videos. I give you a lot of praise. How kind of passion you have as a Jet fan.
Thank
and much younger guy than me. I got 2 points I want to make.
Sure,
One
shoot,
on
fire
another
away.
topic you're not going to believe, but I think we should open up the thing for Jeff fans. The first topic I have is, listen, you make a lot of good points about the draft. I think that, who I listen to a lot besides you is Todd McShay, and he made a good point a couple of weeks ago.
I like Todd McShay. Todd McShay was actually roommates with Joe Douglas in college. Fun fact.
Exactly. He made a good point about Joe Discipline. Joe Discipline, who was, praised by Ralph Racchiano earlier today as being, something that we need. I mean, he is a big fan of, those all-star college games and the guys that he sees in there, like that tackle. I forgot the name of that tackle, that Josh Jones, I believe.
Sure. The guy from Houston.
Yeah, so he, look, McShay said two good points. He says, A, Darnold is the best quarterback in that division.
Yep.
Because of his, the way he has his Tony Romo type of skills in which he could throw on the fly. And B, here's the point, because he knows Todd McShay knows him really good. He needs physical, tough guys. And I really believe this is a 2-year process.
I agree.
Like you said earlier, you mentioned about trading down. We need big guys. Greg Williams' defense is sort of like when Belichick was an defensive coordinator back in '98. Where he just took guys out of nowhere. I mean, bless Austin. I mean, Todd Bowles will never stop bless Austin. I mean, Greg Williams is a magician.
He is.
I think that, let's get guys. Let's get gritty guys. Let's play physical football in there. I'm so happy that Cagnon is not there to make a deal like overnight. You know what I mean? And I think that we have to be very conservative as Jet fans and realize that, that we have to be patient. We can't solve all these problems. And look at all the deals that he's made. I mean, the science behind the deals is they're all like 1-year deals.
Oh, yeah.
To save cap room for the future. You know what I mean? So
I agree.
If I had my way, if Jet fans get scared, and let's say, C.J. Henderson is there at the 11th pick, and we're like, oh, my God, we took another defensive player. This time we got to be, Ryan, we got to be a little bit more like to say, hey, we were lucky to get a guy like Joe Douglas in there. You know what I mean? He's part of a concrete part of this organization that we haven't had since Parcells was there with Bill Belichick, Romeo Cardell, and all those guys. Charlie White. You know what I mean? I want your thoughts on that, Phil.
So I just have a hard time wanting to go corner in the first. I think if we trade down, I'd be a little more open to it. I've been saying it, and I think I've commented on a ton of people that have commented on my video. I put in Joe we trust, and I am going to roll 100% behind Joe in whatever he decides to choose. If it's corner, I'm going to grit my teeth. I'm going to, enjoy it. It just sucks because I want offensive line to rebuild that. I want wide receivers for Sam. I just think we've done so well on the defensive side. We were a top 10 unit with corners that I think are worse than what we currently have going into the season at this point. I would think it's a bad decision to use assets that high on defense without it being a pass rush. Like, pass rush is really what I'd like to target if we had to go, maybe defense in the first round. But I like Henderson. I just don't think it would be one that would be a little rough for me to swallow, I think.
Well, can I ask you another question? Would you
sure.
Be something the community out there hasn't really said anything? What about taking a running back, maybe in the second or third round? There's your thoughts on that?
Running back in the third, I could get behind. Second round, I'm really targeting wide receiver because I think we could get a first round caliber wide receiver there, and I think we do need that. So I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm pigeonholing myself into it, but if we don't go wide receiver or offensive lineman in the first round, I think you got to go with wide receiver in the second or offensive line. Like, I think it's got to go offensive line, wide receiver. Then you can look at edge rusher, cornerback, running back as those next 3 positions that I'd like to target. And you can go best player available at any of those.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, this is a 2-year process, in my opinion.
Thank you so much for calling in. Boom! You've been ejected from the cockpit. I'm sorry. That was a great call. That was a lot of good questions. So I definitely enjoyed that one.
Call from Detonator 10.
Detonator 10, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit. Before I get to your question, I just want to plug the question of the day. Guys, if you've not tuned in, down below in the Discord, in the description, there's a link to the Jets Discord. Click on that. There's a question of the day in the poll section. The Monday Night Miracle occurred against the Miami Dolphins in Week 8 of the 2000 NFL season. How many points were the Dolphins winning by prior to the start of the fourth quarter? Enter that, get the question right, and I will raffle off a shirt, a hat, or a mug or something like that towards the end of the show. Detonator 10, what's up, dude?
Yo, there goes 20 seconds of my time, bro. God damn.
No. I just reset the clock. You're at 5 minutes now.
Oh.
You're good.
Yeah, all right, good. I'm like, yeah, so, I'm saying at this rate, if, again, the 4 offensive linemen are not there, I mean, Worst, Becton, Wills, and Thomas, we go wide receiver at 11.
Yep. I'm okay with that.
And that's also if Robbie Anderson doesn't re-sign, which I've also listened to reports like, oh, you don't want to like just replace him. You want to add on to it. You want to bring in Robbie Anderson plus someone like Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb, right?
Sure.
And I mean, I agree to an extent. But I don't like wanting to pay Robbie over $10 million a year.
Yeah, no, I don't really particularly want. I could go up on a multi-year deal, $10 to $12 million, because Tyrell Williams last year as the number 2 receiver for the Raiders got 4 years, $44 million, so $11 million a year. I think Robbie has earned the right to be a number 2 wide receiver and get paid as such. So if you want to match that contract, $11 million a year, or beat it by $1 million and make it $12 million a year, I'm okay with that. I think if you don't get Robbie back, I think he's going to sign a 1-year deal with us. But if he doesn't, I would go to Brashad Perriman and then draft a receiver, ideally in the second round, because I want to get our new starting left tackle in the first round. But I don't know if those tackles are gone. I think my next option is probably to try and trade down. If I could move down a good amount and maybe pick up a first next year, I would do that. I don't know. It's tough because I want CeeDee Lamb. I want an excuse to draft CeeDee Lamb. I just don't know. I don't know what we should do. I'm glad I'm not the GM here.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God Joe Douglas is in charge, and I'm really liking all these free agency pickups. Not gonna lie, the George Fent one, I'm still questioning on that one. I'm like, and but everything else is still like, yeah. I mean, especially how big his contract was. I'm like, what the.
Yeah, the Fant contract kind of confused me. Now, if Joe Douglas believes Fant is our starting left tackle, like if that's his thing and he's like, hey, I've scouted him, I know him, I've watched him, I'm trusting Joe Douglas with this offensive line. If he thinks that maybe a second or third round tackle will do and we should sign maybe if it is a corner at 11, if that is the pick.
Oh, please no.
Well, that's just it. I think it's got to be all about the offense, and I'll be upset with the pick, but I've been saying it. In Joe We Trust. I got to make a shirt. I got to figure out some type of design for In Joe We Trust. Mumtaz Shamsi, thank you so much for the $10 donation. I don't see any question attached to it, but I really appreciate it. You're awesome, and I think you should not get coronavirus because you're so cool, and I really like you. Sorry. No, that was all. I wish you had a question or anything, but no, thank you so much. Sorry, I don't know where we were.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you're talking about your shirt design. I think you should put him on the Statue of Liberty with him holding a football and be like, in Joe.
I could have him like King Kong. Maybe like King Kong, like hanging off the side in Joe We Trust, like holding the Super Bowl trophy. I was going to do that if the Jets drafted DK Metcalf. I was going to put DK on the statue, or not the Statue of Liberty, have him on the Empire State Building, have Donkey Kong with like a green tie with like white and black lettering. I had it all mocked up. And I didn't really think we were going to get him, but I sort of, wanted him. That would have been my shirt design for that one. Are there any moves you want to see the Jets make that they have not made already in free agency? Are there any players out there that you're kind of eyeing?
Njoku.
Now,
I don't want to give him a lot for him, but I think he'll be helpful.
Are you talking about? You're not talking Njoku. Njoku's the tight end. You're talking about Ndakwe, right? The pass rusher. Okay.
Yeah, Ndakwe.
So I love Ndakwe. He was my number 1 free agent I wanted the Jets to get outside of Joe Thuney. And, obviously I thought the Jaguars were not going to have enough cap space to tag him. Now, tag and trade, I would absolutely give up our first-round pick, and I would give up our first-round pick and a conditional pick next year to get this guy. I think he is legit. I just don't know if Douglas is going to give up the picks to pay that guy $20 million a year. That it doesn't feel like a Joe move.
Yeah, and Doc Ford seems to be a really good talent too and stuff like that. One person I want to avoid though is Clowney.
I completely agree. I do not want Jadeveon Clowney. I think he's fool's gold. I think he is a freak name and a freak athlete at times, but 50 penalties in the last 4 years and available for 75% of his games is not enough for me. I would not pay him $20 million a year, and thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit. God, I really do. The timer might be my favorite thing that I've added to this show recently because I just love launching people. Oh, there's going to be some energy from this caller.
Call from Chris from Florida.
Chris, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
What's going on, Jets, Jets, baby? So we covering all the stuff right here on the first week of free agency.
I love it, dude. How are you handling your quarantine? Florida is just starting to like get into the quarantine game. They're a little bit behind the rest of the country, or at least the northeast part.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, with my job, since I am in the medical field, I unfortunately still have to work and get out there and be as safe as possible. Thank you for bringing that up. I hope you, as well as your family and your fiance, are still being safe and cautious, as well as to the viewers out there. Please be careful. Even though you may not take this as seriously, remember that those around you, your loved ones, can still be affected. So remember to just wash your hands when you can, guys, and keep them sanitized.
I love it. I love it. What do you think about Joe Douglas's offseason, or what do you want to talk about?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I'm loving Joe Douglas, man. The more and more I see his work, he's doing one-year deals, or he's focusing on the offensive line like he's promising, and you see the contracts he's made. I see the 3-year deals, and I'm like, yo, he's trying to set up to where we're fine this season coming up, but at least we won't have so much of a struggle as the years continue to go on. You see, like, he's doing the 1-year deals with the defense because, like I said, he trusts Greg Williams to provide talent from whatever he's given, but at least he's focused that, hey, my offensive line needs to continue until I can get fresher talent onto it, so I need to make sure that Sam Darnold is good. I love what he's doing there. He's doing a smart job. He's making great deals. I do think Robbie Anderson is coming back just because of those deals. I want to bring up Font, though, because a lot of people seem confused, and I think I know why Joe Douglas signed him, though.
All right, go, shoot.
I think he signed Font because when I was looking at a lot of his past plays, and he wasn't a big starter, but one of his biggest advantages was an opening run for the running back. And I think he's brought in Font to either do one of two things. Either be a decent starter for Le'Veon Bell to help open that left side pocket, or better yet, to help teach Edoga how to open the right side a lot more. Because if we do get another offensive tackle, most likely Font will either take over for Edoga or still keep on the left. But he knows how to open that pocket. I've seen a lot of his plays. He tends to know how to get an edge rusher at a good distance before he hits that quarterback. But it's always when that ball is passed on to the running back, he can open that pocket and the running back can just swoop right through.
Yeah, I want to see. I'm trying to see if I actually have I had a stat here somewhere, and I don't think I screenshotted it. But there was something about Font and the way that I don't have it. So Wirfs blew up the combine. He absolutely ran out of his mind. He did everything that you would want to see an offensive tackle do, and Fant is actually like that same caliber kind of, athlete. He played tight end a little bit. I'm definitely looking forward to watching this guy get out in space. I think you're right with the running back situation. I think you're going to see this guy get on the second level. I could see them using him as a swing tackle. I think he's been brought in to be competition with Edoga. Like, I still think we're going to draft a tackle at 11. And maybe you have Fant and the rookie sort of compete in training camp, and then you see how Edoga's doing. If Edoga can't, hold his own, maybe Fant slides over to the right side. I could see I think Gase and Joe Douglas and this whole team, I think they're going to pick the 5 best offensive linemen, and that's what they're going to do, and that's who they're going to roll with.
Since you brought up the draft, I want to give you a particular idea set up.
Okay.
Since a lot of offensive linemen have been taken, and I see that Trent Williams is still an option of trade for the Redskins. Let's say the Redskins decide not to go with Chase Young, and instead they themselves pick an offensive lineman. Chase Young is still on the board. Would you take him?
Yes, absolutely. I would take Chase Young. He's not going to fall to 11, though. That's the only thing. Chase Young is going to go to the first team that's not taking a quarterback. Like, I think it's going to be Burrow. I really think Chase Young's going to number 2. Maybe the Redskins trade out with the Dolphins, and the Dolphins just give up a ton of stuff for, to draft Tua. And then I think Chase Young goes to the Lions. Like, I don't think he's going to get out of that top 4 or 5. I have a hard time seeing that. I'm not trading up to go get him. I like him. I think he's the best pass rusher in this draft. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, honestly, though, when I heard you guys talking about trading a 1 for Ngakoue, I like Ngakoue a lot, but I wouldn't trade that first-round pick. Honestly, I would
trade a first-round pick for Ngakoue, but not number 11. Like, if I could trade down to the Eagles pick and maybe pick up a first-round pick next year, and now the offensive linemen are gone, and I still want to take a receiver at 48, then I would take the pass rusher Ngakoue. But I don't know if I see Joe Douglas giving up draft picks to pay someone $20 million. That feels like not a Joe Douglas move.
I just love his strategy, though. It's really good. Jet Central made up a good point about some past GMs that we've had and the history Joe Douglas has gone through and who he's learned under. I really like the way this guy is.
Chris from Florida, I love you, but you've been ejected from the cockpit. That goddamn chicken gets him every time. Thank you, Chris, for calling in. I see Grandpa Mark trying to call in. Ooh.
Call from David.
David Gangrene, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
1-year deals are continuing to be distributed on One Jets Drive. How you doing, Ryan?
Not too bad. I'm hanging in there. How are you enjoying your quarantine?
Dude, I'm losing it, considering that I've been doing homework mostly all day.
Dude, that's
online class rituals.
Oh, I could see that being frustrating. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I mean, just looking at all these 1-year deals, just seeing how Joe Douglas is taking this approach. You kind of look at a lot of the players that we brought back, our guys I'm actually talking about. These are Mike Maccagnan guys. Brian Poole was a Mike Maccagnan free agent signing. Jordan Jenkins was a Mike Maccagnan draft pick. And Jordan Jenkins and Brian Poole, they're brought back so they can show Joe Douglas that they could be his guy, because Joe Douglas wants to make sure that he can have his guys moving forward and not pick up of what's left of Mike Maccagnan's scraps. So
yeah, I think a lot of our holdovers were not very good anyway. Like, we saw our offensive line just fall apart. I'm cautiously optimistic on what Joe Douglas is doing. I'm excited for what I'm seeing, but I'm cautiously optimistic.
Like, the one thing I'm cautiously optimistic about is George Fant. Other than that, like, I kind of like the offensive line looks different, but it should look better, at least on paper for right now, because we brought back Alex Lewis. That's a Joe Douglas guy, and Joe Douglas gave him a multi-year deal because Joe Douglas traded for him, and he brought him back because of the production Alex Lewis brought. He showed Joe Douglas that he could be his guy moving forward. Connor McGovern, probably our best signing. I mean, he could probably solidify our center position for at least a good 3-4 years. And then you have Greg Van Roten, who when we talked about it on the panel, this is a guy that I wanted for a while. I mean, he's 30 years old, but he's a solid pass blocker, and I think it'll definitely fit Adam Gase's offense pretty sufficiently. So the only thing that's left is a tackle, and I think with the way Joe Douglas has pursued offensive line and free agency, I think maybe it could be safer to say that Joe Douglas is going to continue to do that, and he might take that tackle in the draft. And I'm personally thinking that that's what he's going to do. I mean, we discussed it on the panel. I think you, me, Matt, and Kyle are on the same page with that.
Yeah, I really think tackle is going to be the pick. That feels like the Joe Douglas move to me at 11. But let's look across the line. Alex Lewis in his second year of the offense with Adam Gase, because he came in part of the way through the year. So I think he's going to play better. I think having Connor McGovern is a significantly big upgrade at the center position. I think he's better than any of the centers we've had the last 3 or 4 years. Best center we've had since Mangold. I think Van Roten is going to be better than Brian Winters has been. I think he's going to be more available, and I think he's going to be a better player than him. Edoga, I have a hard time seeing being worse than what we got last year, but I think Fant is an upgrade from that if he's on the right-hand side. I think a tackle at 11, and maybe if you're competing with Fant on the left side. I think the offensive line is going to be significantly better with what we've gotten already, and I do agree. I think on paper it looks like it makes sense.
Yeah, but like, do you see now the Jets, being that they're bringing in guys on 1-year deals, and seeing that the market for Robbie Anderson isn't as vast as expected with this wide receiver draft class? Do you see maybe Robbie getting a similar kind of deal, so that way Robbie can have a chance to really kind of really prove his worth before he can cash out on a bigger deal in a much bigger receiver market next year?
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think he's definitely going to sign a 1-year contract because he's not getting the money he wants. I think the draft class is hurting him. I think he'll get the 1-year contract, maybe around $10 million for 1 year, and he'll try to see what he can do and prove himself next year when Sam's fully healthy. We have a better offensive line. His stock should go up this year with the New York Jets. I think last year was probably the worst case scenario for Robbie with Sam just running around nonstop. I don't see Robbie playing worse than what we've seen the last few years. I think this is going to be the best situation that he's been in.
No, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, this is going to be another guy that Joe Douglas he's going to have to prove to Joe Douglas that he could be his guy. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see what Joe Douglas does, and I think he's kind of building sort of a patient style in regards to actually building a team, because he wants to build things his way, and we want to see what his way is, and his way is now bringing guys to kind of prove it to him that they could be on his organization long term. So I am cautiously optimistic about Douglas, because if he doesn't draft well, then I'm worried that we could go into an Idzik situation, because I think Douglas's premium is going to rely on the draft, and that's what we're excited for.
Yeah, I think when you look at Robbie Anderson, my only concern right now is that Brashad Perriman gets signed, and he's the guy I want if we can't get Robbie. I'm hoping teams are waiting to see what happens with Robbie before he signs. David, I love you so much, dude. You got 5 seconds. Say something real quick.
Thanks for the mug. The mug is awesome.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. David won the mug about 2 weeks ago, so he got the mug. Oh, there's our boy, Grandpa Mark. Guys, if you haven't hit up Gangrene David,
to send a voicemail.
Hit up Gangrene David. Go sub him up. Grandpa Mark, I'm going to get to you in just a second. Guys, there's a link in the description down below to the Jets Discord. Head down there. The question of the day is posted there. If you get it right, I'm going to raffle off a shirt, a hat, or a mug in the next 20 minutes or so. How many points were the Dolphins winning by prior to the start of the fourth quarter during the Monday Night Miracle against the Dolphins? How many points were the Jets down by heading into the fourth quarter? Grandpa Mark, how are you doing? How you been? It's been a while.
Can you hear me this time?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm really I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy. Can you guess why?
Because Brian Winters is probably gone, and Cavalli's gone, and all these offensive linemen that you don't like are gone?
You pretty much hit it right on the head. Well, Winters is still here, but Brett Cavalli has not been re-signed.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I don't see it happening. I think Joe Douglas looked at him and he's like, I could do better. He's taking a page out of the Grandpa Mark playbook.
Just tell you something. My friends and I, who are all Jet fans, we are considering throwing a goodbye Brett Cavalli party. If we have it, would you like to be invited?
I would love to be invited. I'll come in video chat Zoom wise or something. I'll be like, because who knows? I'll probably be still quarantined at that point. No, I'm hoping.
Okay, well, we'll do it after the quarantine. But let me tell you some of the things we're going to have. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a piñata made in effigy of Cavalli, and we'll take wax at it. Mm-hmm. While we're doing that, we're also going to have the lowlights of his playing time on a loop. So during the party, we'll be able to watch all the lowlights.
Okay.
And then everybody leaves the party. You're going to have the choice of putting your signature on a document that says that he should give back all the money he made on his contract last year.
I think all the food should be served on Lazy Susans, those rotating turnstiles.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, if I invite you, I hope you're going to come. That's all I have to say. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to invite the entire talk panel, so everybody's invited.
I love it.
You don't have to bring a gift.
Oh. Okay.
but anyway, real quick, yeah, I absolutely love the moves that he's made on the O-line. I don't care even if Adoga starts, if Font starts, with the other additions he's made, it is an absolute upgrade over what we had last year, even if it just stays the way it is, which I don't think it's going to be. I have a feeling this guy Fant is like an insurance policy. I could be wrong. I mean, they are paying him a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think what I'd like to see them do now is hopefully maybe they get that kid Becton, or maybe get that kid, what's his name, Wills,
Wirfs, Thomas, any one of those four. I'd really...
Yeah, any of those guys, but that's what I'd like to see. Now, also, let's bring up a sore subject again. This whole thing with Jamal.
Okay. Fire away.
Okay. First of all, did you see, because look, when I had spoken to you about the whole thing about him wanting the money, this was something that I had heard about on another show.
Yeah.
On another talk show.
I think it was I'm pretty sure someone said, Jamal, you're worth $20 million. I don't think Jamal's actually ever asked for $20 million. I could be wrong on that.
Okay. All right. Because I had never heard anybody else talk about this subject except on this other show.
Yeah.
And they said they saw it, that he said this, and that Jamal said that he would not leave a dollar on the table. But with all of this being said now, I mean, even if Douglas decided to re-sign him to a new contract this year, where the hell are they going to get the money from? Even if he said he only wanted 15, 16 million.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where are they going to get the money from? But he can, if he would like. The ball is in Jamal's court here, because I mean, you've talked about it. Jamal, if he wants, he can sit out. Correct?
He could, yeah, but I don't know if it's necessarily in his benefit to do that, because the Jets own his rights for his 4th year, his 5th year option, and they can franchise tag him well before like having to get to that $15 million mark. Like, I think the franchise tag might put him at like 13 or 14 million eventually. It sucks. I don't think you can pay a safety as much as he's going to want to get paid. I would pay him the top safety contract. Like, I'm fine with that. I just don't want to like crazy overpay. Like, the Jets have the upper hand right now, owning his rights for the next 3 years. I would guarantee him the next 3 years and maybe give him an increase. I don't think you're going to have to pay him $15 million this year. I don't think.
Okay, well, I got 10 seconds left, so all I have to say is don't pay him this year. Wait.
Don't. I love it. Thank you, Grandpa Mark, as always, for calling in. I wish I could have gotten you in a little bit earlier too. I'm seeing all the Grandpa Mark calls pop up on like the side thing right there. I try to like plug in when I remember. I try to plug in the names of the people who wind up calling, and then I can like remember it for next time. But I wind up not doing it half the time because I don't want to like jack up this whole system.
Call from Gabe.
What's good, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hi, I wanted to ask you a question about Demaryius Thomas. Do you want to re-sign him?
I would like Demaryius Thomas back on a cheap deal, but I would wait until after week 1 of the NFL season, because then his contract wouldn't be fully guaranteed. Like, he's still a little too old for me to want to bring back at this point. Like, if we can get younger, I'd prefer that. But if, say, someone gets hurt, like maybe Crowder goes down or another one gets hurt again, and we need to bring in someone, I'm okay with bringing Demaryius Thomas back. I think he's going to be cheap. I think you can get him for $2 or $3 million. I just don't want it to be like a plan A right now, if that makes sense. How do you feel about Demaryius Thomas?
I would want to bring him back, but if he wants like $10 million, no.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's probably a little too much for Demaryius Thomas. What do you think about the free agency moves we've made so far? Is there a player that you wish the Jets could have gotten, or that you're happy that we got?
I'm happy that we got George Fant.
I think that's a good move. I think it's important to protect Sam Darnold. I think protecting his blind side, that left tackle position, is really important.
Yeah, because we don't really have that much left tackles.
Yeah, no, definitely not. We have Shell just signed with the Seahawks. Beachum is a free agent, so the Jets don't have any offensive tackles under contract. So now we have, Fant as our lone tackle along with Edoga.
Yeah. What is your offensive line right now? Like all these signings, what is your offensive line?
So ideally for me, I think if I'm looking across, we'll go from left to right. Ideally, either I want to draft the left tackle of the future in the first round. So that rookie's going to be there, maybe competing with Fant to start. You have Alex Lewis as left guard. You have McGovern as the center. Then you have Van Roten as the right guard replacing Brian Winters. And then you have Edoga on the right-hand side. Now, maybe you have Edoga and Fant going back and forth, trying to compete there. I think we're going to play the best 5 offensive linemen. I don't think it necessarily has to be, maybe Edoga is a good guard for some reason. I think we're going to pick the best 5 guys. The only 2 people that I think are locks for their positions at this point in time are going to be Van Roten and McGovern.
Yeah, I agree.
Who else? Have you been looking at the draft at all? Do you know any of the players that are coming out that you may like?
I would like Tristan Wirfs.
Ooh, yeah, he blew up the combine. He would be really cool to get.
Yeah. Oh, and also, if I hang up, it's because my phone's about to die.
That's all right. That's fine. If you can last 2 more minutes, I got 2 more minutes on the timer before I, boom, eject you from the cockpit.
Okay.
What's your favorite? Now, are you off from school right now? Are you? Is school closed for you at the moment?
Yeah.
What are you doing in your spare time? Do you have school online, or are you just kind of enjoying a little bit of downtime?
Downtime.
Very cool. Are there any video games you're playing?
Yeah.
What's your favorite video game that you're playing right now?
Madden.
Ooh, playing Madden. Okay, I didn't buy this year's Madden. I had Madden last year. I'm a big Call of Duty fan, so I've been playing Warzone a lot. I've been Becca's actually in the bedroom playing Animal Crossing, so I'm a big video game guy. That's sort of how I'm spending. I'm a big movie guy too. Movies and shows are my kind of thing. I could sit and watch movies for days.
And also, what do you think of? Wait, do you know that Cam Newton got traded to Chicago?
Did he actually get traded to Chicago? I heard. Let me see. Now I gotta actually look this up.
He got traded to Chicago for a 4th.
Really? I did not knew that. I saw someone post it in the chat. I don't think he did. I think that's malarkey. I don't see it. You still there?
Yeah.
I don't think he was traded. I'm pretty sure. I don't see it popping up on any of my Twitter feeds or anything. I think it's probably someone pulling your leg.
Oh.
I think he's ultimately going to get cut. I think that's what's going to wind up happening. I don't think they're going to be able to find a trade partner for him.
Who do you want to get in free agency right now?
Boom! You've been ejected from the cockpit, but I'll answer your question. So who do I want to get in free agency right now? I would say I want to get Vinny Curry. Vinny Curry is my player right now. I would like Everson Griffin. I think he's going to cost a little bit more than Vinny Curry, but I want an edge rusher.
Call from Michael Allahan.
Michael, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hi, it's Michael Allahan.
How are you doing, buddy?
Hi, if we re-sign Robbie Anderson, how long are we re-signing him for?
So ideally, I would love to have him on a 3 or 4 year contract, but I think because he's not necessarily getting the money that he wants right now, I could see him getting the first round, or sorry, a 1 year contract on a prove it deal. I think that's probably what's going to wind up happening. I like Robbie Anderson. I want him back. I really do.
Are we getting what are the good free agents?
Ooh, the good free agents. So I really like what Joe Douglas has done so far. I'm a big fan of the Fant signing, the McGovern signing. the Van Rotten signing. I think we're rebuilding the offensive line, so Sam's going to have time to throw the ball. I think Le'Veon Bell is going to play a lot better now. I think as far as free agency goes, I want Robbie Anderson back. That would be number one priority for me, I think, getting him back. And then I want a pass rusher. I really want an edge rusher. Vinny Curry is a player that I really like from the Eagles. He has the Joe Douglas connection. I think that would be a really good spot to look at. A lot of guys in the chat have brought up Everson Griffin from the Vikings. He is an animal. He's absolutely a freak of nature. If you have a moment, go on YouTube after this call and check up on Everson Griffin and Vinny Curry highlights. They're both really cool. Those would be the guys. Those would be the guys I'd look for aside from Robbie Anderson.
What about Le'Veon? Do you think he's going to be good this year?
I think Le'Veon Bell is going to be better than he was last year. I think maybe it took a little bit of time to get back into football shape. I think the offensive line is significantly improved. I think having a healthy Sam Darnold will create more of a threat in the passing game. And I think Bell will play better this year. I think it's probably his last year on the Jets. I think he's got 3 more years on his contract, but the Jets can kind of get out of the deal after next year. And last year we heard that Adam Gase wasn't necessarily really high on Le'Veon Bell. I really wanted Le'Veon Bell last year. That was my a huge thing that I wanted, and I would love to see him stay longer. I think he'll play better next year. I think he'll have a rebound kind of year, and I think we'll be excited. I think it'll be a fun Jet year with Le'Veon Bell.
Okay, and what about who do we think we're signing in the draft?
In the draft, so if I could work out my ideal situation right now, I would bring Robbie Anderson back. I would get Vinny Curry as an edge rusher. So now when we head into the draft, we're looking at an offensive tackle, like a left tackle, or a wide receiver. Those are going to be our 2 biggest needs, I think, heading into the draft.
Yeah.
There's 4 really good offensive linemen. I'm hoping one of those 4 is there for the Jets at 11. I think they will be. I think one of them will. As long as Joe Douglas likes that player, I think he'll take them, and then you won't really have to worry about the wide or the offensive line too much more in the draft. Like maybe you pick a middle round pick guy to compete with some of the other players, but then you look at wide receiver in the second round, and there's a lot of really good wide receivers in the second round. I think there's Justin Jefferson, Mims. I really like Pittman. He played with Sam Darnold at USC for a year. He's a big-bodied target. I think Robbie Anderson's the fast guy. I think Jamison Crowder is like the slot guy. So you got to get a big-bodied wide receiver, big-bodied target for Sam Darnold.
Wait, what team is Le'Veon Bell going to after the draft? What team?
So I don't know. It's tough. I think he'll try to chase a ring. Like I think the Jets are going to cut him after this year, and then I could see him going to maybe the Chiefs or the Texans maybe. Like the Texans have David Johnson right now. I don't know if he'll stay real healthy, but I think he'll try to go to a team that is competing for a championship. Maybe he goes to the NFC. Who knows? But I think the Chiefs would be my top option for him to go somewhere else if I had to pick.
All right. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much for calling in, brother. I appreciate the call, and you have been ejected from the cockpit. Very cool. Not too shabby. What's going on in the chat? Guys, we have 15 minutes before I announce the winner of our shirt, hat, mug kind of contest. So head over to the Jets Discord. There's a link down in the description down below. How many points were the Jets down by heading into the fourth quarter during the Monday Night Miracle game against the Miami Dolphins in Week 8 of the 2000 NFL season? Head down to the Jets Discord. I'm going to raffle that off, and then someone's going to win a hat, a shirt, or a mug, or something from the Jets Talk store. So head over there. Evan says Ayuk or Pittman. I gotta watch Ayuk. I don't even know if I'm saying that name right. I don't know enough about him. Pittman I do like. I do like Pittman. I don't know if I like him in the second round. I like him in the third probably. Our first third round pick, I would consider that. NY Sports MC. Ryan, do you think Robbie could wait until after the draft to sign since his market has been so low? Wait for a team that may miss out on a top wide receiver? I think that would be a very bad move for Robbie Anderson because there are so many wide receivers in this draft. And teams are going to spend a lot of their cap space. I don't know if he's going to get a better contract because of, like if he waits till after the draft. I think that would be a bad move on his part. I would say Robbie's going to sign in the next week or two. Maybe he's a little stubborn and wants to wait till after the draft, and maybe he just has a really bad agent, because I do not think that's a good move. A better move, maybe, is to wait and see if someone gets injured in preseason, and I don't even necessarily agree with that. I think he should sign in the next week or two if he wants to maximize the amount of money he's going to get for this particular season. That's what I think. The Gaming Line 18, what do you think about Gandy Golden? I love me some Gandy Golden. I don't know where he's going to go. I predicted him in the second round back when I did my mock draft in like the middle of October. And since then, he's probably going to be fourth round, I think, now that things are starting to shake out a little bit more. Maybe third round. I like Antonio Gandy Golden. He's a big receiver. He played in a weak conference. I'm going to go over him when I start doing my draft breakdowns. I think I definitely want to hit offensive lineman. I want to hit wide receiver. Then I'll probably hit edge rusher, cornerback, running back. I don't know if I'll touch on too many other positions other than that, but that's kind of what I'm sort of thinking. Robbie tweeted, patience is key, and that's what made me think of that. Now, I think patience is key because he doesn't want to sign maybe right away, and maybe he's getting a little bit of, I don't know. I don't think anyone's biting on Robbie Anderson. The highest pick we've been offered the last few years is like a fourth-round pick for him. I don't think the market's there for Robbie. I really don't. I think people would prefer Pittman on a cheaper contract. I think Pittman might be waiting to, or sorry, not Pittman, Perryman might be waiting on waiting on Robbie to sign before he signs, unless he gets like a deal that he perceives is better than what he would normally get. Like, or maybe teams are waiting to see what Robbie gets before Perryman signs. I don't know. Thoughts on Chase Claypool? I like Chase Claypool. It's tough for me to say where these guys are going to fall because there's so many guys that are really good. He's a big body dude. He's not real fast. He almost looks more like a tight end to me, but he's a big bodied guy. So he's the receiver from Notre Dame. You guys should look him up if you haven't, because he's got some pretty good highlights. I would say third round is probably where I'd feel comfortable with Claypool. He is fast. Okay, man, he doesn't when I look at him on tape, he feels like he's just bigger. Maybe I'm talking out my butt right now. I've only watched his highlights, maybe 3 times. But I'm going to do my grading system. I'm going to do some kind of grading system in terms of what sort of metrics I'm going to look at. I'm going to look at their 40 times. I'm going to look at their jumping. I'm going to look at their, the roster around them, like how good was the team they were on, what was their strength of schedule, those sorts of things. If you guys think of any sort of stats I should look at for the college receivers that might help us differentiate who's going to be good, I'll probably have to put expected draft round, like where most guys are going in mock drafts. I still have to release my mock draft. I wanted to wait till after free agency was kind of over so that way I could start rattling off, where I think players are going to go. I didn't want to do my mock draft too early and then find out that, the Colts now don't own the 13th overall pick. Drew, how do you call in? There's a phone number right there, right at the bottom of the screen. If you call that number, it leads you to me. That is the phone number. Wow, Chase Claypool ran a 4.43 40-yard dash. That is way faster than I thought. I would have figured, well, I shouldn't say way faster because it's like a tenth of a second, but I would have put him in like the 4.5 range. 4.43, and how tall is he? I'm gonna look up how tall he is because he seems like a really big body guy. Chase Claypool. I'm sure you guys are probably gonna respond to me before I even get this pulled up. 6'4", yes, 6'4". Woof, that's a big dude. 6'4", running a 4.43. That's like crazy fast. That is real fast. If that's what you're going to get, Jed Miller says he reminds me a lot of Mike Evans. If that's the kind of player you're going to get, you take him in the second round. Wow, I didn't realize he was that fast at that size. I knew he was big, but that is sneaky quick. Evan Wallman says Jets will be 8-8 next year. I think 8-8 is probably where we're hoping to be because the schedule is going to be harder. I think the roster is going to be better. I don't know. I think I could see us getting swept by Buffalo twice. I could see us splitting with the Patriots. I think we're better than the Patriots. Like, I think we should beat the Patriots. I could see us sweeping the division. Put it this way. I could see us sweeping the division because I don't think any one team is drastically better than any other team. I do think the Bills are the best team in the division, and they will ultimately win the most games and wind up winning the division. But I can see the Jets playing them well. I think you can double cover Diggs and take away some of these shorter routes. I don't trust Josh Allen as a quarterback. Like, I think Sam Darnold is now the best quarterback in the AFC East. He still has to prove it, but I think he is the best quarterback currently in the AFC East. And I think the Jets are going to wind up playing better than expected. Even if we have a 7-9 record, if that's what winds up happening, you're going to see a better team. You're going to see more quality games. Last year, the teams we beat down the end of the stretch, like people are saying it was 6-2 is what we went down the last bit of the year. That was with, we played the Dolphins twice. We played the Bengals. We played the Steelers with their third-string quarterback. We played the Bills backups. I think the best games we played this year was the Cowboys game and the loss to the Ravens. Those were the two games that I thought were better, even though we did not, play as good as we could have.
Angel from Buffalo.
Angel, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, I was wondering about Demarcus Robinson. What do you think about him? He's basically comparable to Robbie, and he's cheaper. He's only 25 too.
So I really like Demarcus Robinson. He's someone that I projected the Jets to get in place of Robbie probably in October of this past year. I wound up taking him on my fantasy team because I had a few receivers get hurt, and I figured if someone goes down in the Chiefs offense, this guy could shine. For those of you that don't know Demarcus Robinson, he was behind. He's like the fourth option on this Chiefs team, maybe even the fifth if you want to throw the running back in there too. But I like DeMarcus Robinson. I don't necessarily compare him to Robbie Anderson. Once I did my F, Marry, Kill series, I think that sort of shed a little bit more light on him for me. I think he's 6'1", so he's a little bit shorter. He's 2 inches shorter than Robbie. He ran like a 4.5 40 or 4.53 40. It wasn't like a great 40. Robbie Anderson runs a 4.32 or 4.35. So there's definitely a speed difference there. I like the age a lot. I think you could give him a 4-year contract at a really cheap deal, and he could be your number 2 wide receiver for the next 3-4 years. I would bring him in. I think my first option is to get Robbie and then draft a receiver. That would be first. Number 2 would probably be Perriman and a drafted receiver, but I could get on board with Robinson, and I would still draft another guy too.
Yeah. Also, I liked Denzel Mims. You guys were talking about the receivers that ran fast. He ran like a 4.39. He's like from Baylor, I think, and he's like 6'5".
He's a big dude. I think he's one of the guys in the chat says he's 6'3". But either way, 6'3" running a 4.39. That's a fast guy for that size. I like Mims a lot. I would take him if we traded back. Like, say we fell back to 21, and then maybe we go back to like 28 with the Ravens. If there was some sort of multiple trade backs, I would look for him. If he fell to 48, I would definitely take him. I think he's probably going in the first round the way he handled that combine, or at least ahead of that 48 pick. Like, there's still 16 picks between the first pick in the second round and us. So we're really picking in the middle of the second round.
So, I'm over here from Buffalo,
yep.
New York, and basically I get made fun of, basically because I'm a Jets fan, and every time I go into work, everybody's like, Jets this, Jets that, blah blah blah, the garbage, this and that. So I really think JD's going in a better direction, and I really like the O-line, how it's shaping up. Like, if we trade for Trent Williams or draft Andrew Thomas, this line is going to look totally different from last year. It already is different than last year, so I'm pretty excited about this year coming up.
Yeah, I think the offensive line, at least on paper, is going to be significantly better. I think if we just get the 5 guys to play a lot of games together, I think that will be better. Because we had, I think it was 9 or 10 different combinations of offensive linemen in front of Sam, and Sam only played in 12 games. So when you have guys shuffling in and shuffling out that frequently, the center can't snap the ball to the guy, you don't necessarily know the right, formations or lineups. You're still learning the offense. I think this year we're better prepared to handle the offensive line and what Joe Douglas has done, especially if we have to tackle at number 11. I would say to your Buffalo friends, they're the better team right now. They did what the Jets should have done last year. I think Sam is the better quarterback. I think we have to eat a little bit of humble pie right now because the Jets have played terribly for the last 10 years outside of the 2015 season. And the 2015 season, the Bills beat us in that last game. Is the heartbreaker where we couldn't get into the playoffs. So I think we have to eat a little bit of humble pie from the Bills, sort of sit back. I don't really have anything against the Bills. Like, I actually enjoy watching Josh Allen. He feels like a very Buffalo quarterback to me. And I don't know. I have more hate towards the Patriots and them without Tom Brady than the Bills, even though the Bills are probably the best team in the division right now.
Yeah, also Josh Allen's pretty he's not pretty accurate. He usually throws, like, when he throws to the running back, he like overthrows the running backs and everything.
Oh yeah.
On a little thump offs and stuff. And
it's amazing.
They think that Sam Darnold's worse than Josh Allen. The only difference is that he can run really fast. That's it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you are... Thank you very much for calling in. Boom! You've been ejected from the cockpit. Now, he brought up that they think Sam Darnold is worse than Josh Allen. And I would say a good amount of... there's bias, right? Like, we love Sam Darnold, and I think Sam Darnold is better than Josh Allen. I really think he's a better quarterback. I think Josh Allen has, at this point, led his team further. I think he has earned the right to be talked about. Like, I think Sam and him can be talked about as the two best quarterbacks in the division. And if they side with Josh Allen, I'm okay with it because Sam was sick last year. We've been a bad team. It really has not been good for the Jets. I think Josh Allen cannot hit a running back out of the backfield. I think he has a hard time hitting those short routes. He can hit a guy 70 yards downfield. That arm is a howitzer. The way he runs is incredible. It's something you have to watch out for. But the reason I said I think Cam Newton should go back up Josh Allen is because I feel like Josh Allen is a sort of a clone of Cam Newton. He's not the freak muscle mass that Cam Newton is, but I think he's got the legs that scare you. I think he's a big guy that's going to run you over or jump over you. He's got the big time arm, but he can't hit those short intermediate routes. So he's not going to get those little dink and dunk kind of things down the field. And then all of a sudden, boom, 60 yards down the field. And then they're right back in the game. All right, guys, time is up as far as the Jets poll question goes. So I'm going to pick a winner in here. List off, I'm going to take the first three guys, pick a number 1 through 10, and then I'll add that up and pick through this. The Monday Night Miracle occurred against the Miami Dolphins in Week 8 of the 2000 NFL season. How many points were the Dolphins winning by prior to the start of the fourth quarter? I have a feeling you guys are Googling this because I was at that game and I don't really remember what the points would have been. But it was 23 points. Every single person got that right. So I'm going to raffle this off, and let's see. We got 2, 8, 4. So we got 14. I'm going to go through 14 people right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Grandpa Mark is the winner. Go figure, Grandpa Mark. Grandpa Mark, hit me up on the Jets Discord and send me a little private message or something like that. I will get you your shirt, your hat, your mug, something, whatever you kind of want from the Jets Talk store. Guys, I'll be back here tomorrow with the Talking Jets panel with Gangrene David, Matt O'Leary, and Green Bean. So stay safe out there, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow. We may have a special guest on the panel. I'm going to keep that as a little bit of a secret because I don't know if it's locked in yet, but tune in tomorrow. I got to see. I don't know if it's an 8 o'clock panel or a 9 o'clock panel. I'll put up a watch time sort of thing if I see it, but I'll let you know if I do have them or if it's going to be at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock. I got to talk to the guys, but that's it for me tonight. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I love that you guys support the channel every week. This is Jets Talk, signing off. Jets!